What's up, Star Wars fans? Welcome to the Hyperspace Database. I'm Jonesy the Mandalorian, your host here with today's topic, the What If Infinities series of comic books by Dark Horse Comics. The Star Wars Infinities comic book series is a crazy tale that dives into the unknown of the Star Wars universe, much like the What If series by Marvel Comics and the Elseworlds series by DC Comics, which pretty much takes what you know about the established story and tweaks it with the story variants. The Infinities series is split into 3 different arcs, covering the 3 original trilogy movies, and asks the question, what would the world be like if the story went differently? This series dives into those alternate timelines and showcases what would have happened if events were changed. We begin with Star Wars Infinities: A New Hope, in which many of the story beats are the same, with Luke meeting Ben Kenobi and going on the journey that would see them escaping the Death Star with Han, Chewbacca, and Princess Leia, as well as in the attack on the Death Star. The biggest change in this comic comes in the form of a very possible technical malfunction. Luke is screaming down the Death Star trench with TIE fighters hot on his tail, when he is saved from destruction by the timely arrival of Han Solo. He then gives himself over to the Force and fires his proton torpedoes, which are a direct hit and speed to the reactor's core. As the rebels are fleeing the doomed station, a terrible realization hits them. The torpedoes prematurely detonated, and the station was not destroyed. While it was damaged by the torpedoes, it was not enough to destroy it, and Grand Moff Tarkin greedily fires on the helpless rebel base on Yavin 4, to the utter horror of Luke, who watches from space. Unbeknownst to our heroes, this blast was not at full power, and the rebel leaders managed to escape from the ruined base before the Death Star fires again and destroys the planet, though not with enough time to escape, as they are pursued and captured by Darth Vader and his Imperial forces. The rebel leaders are scheduled to be executed on the Death Star, but Princess Leia is taken to Coruscant and placed under house arrest at the Imperial Palace. Meanwhile, Han and Luke were able to escape the Empire by fleeing into a nearby asteroid field, but they believe that the rebellion is finished and its leaders dead with the planet Yavin 4. This leads to some bickering between the smuggler and the Jedi-to-be, which is interrupted by the ghost of Ben Kenobi telling the group to head to the Dagobah system, where Luke is to receive training in the ways of the Force by Master Yoda. Han drops Luke off with Yoda and vows to return someday, and Luke begins his training in earnest. 5 years pass after this and many things have changed. The Empire celebrates the defeat of the Rebel Alliance and renames the Death Star to the Justice Star, as a name to the symbol of peace that hovers over Coruscant. Leia is now a spokesperson for the new Imperial Senate, and has been secretly trained in the ways of the Sith by Darth Vader. Han and Chewie see a holo-transmission of Leia in her new position, and are enraged that she would apparently turn her back on all that she stood for. The duo then escape the planet and head back to Dagobah to get Luke, who has now finished his Jedi training and become a fully fledged Jedi Knight. Yoda then reveals to Luke that Leia is his sister, and Vader is their father, and then commits to helping the crew take the fight to the Empire one last time. Yoda and R2 undergo a secret mission on board the newly renamed Death Star, and seek to destroy the Behemoth station from within, while Han, Chewie, and Luke go to the surface to confront Vader, Leia, and the Emperor. After battling several Imperial Royal Guards and a reprogrammed C-3PO, they manage to get to the throne room where the trio of villains are waiting for them. Han and Luke then attack the villains, and Leia duels with Luke at the urging of the Emperor. After a heated battle, Leia discovers that Luke is her brother, and that Vader is her father, and renounces the way of the dark side, which prompts the Emperor to blast both Skywalker children with Force lightning. Vader has a turn of heart after discovering that his children are alive, and turns on his master, allowing the heroes to flee aboard the Falcon. This battle is short-lived though, as the Emperor kills Vader and attempts to pursue the fleeing rebels. This leads Master Yoda to make a fateful decision. He turns the Justice Star on the planet and crashes into the Imperial Palace, killing himself, the Emperor, and R2-D2 as well as destroying the planet. After the dust settles, a new story emerges, where R2-D2's memory is placed into another newer unit, and the Skywalker twins are visited by the ghosts of Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda, who look on with approval as Leia is established as the first Chancellor of the New Republic on the planet Naboo. The next series of comics is based on The Empire Strikes Back, and unlike the first series of comics, this iteration changes the plot from nearly the beginning of the film. In this version of The Empire Strikes Back, Luke is out on patrol on Hoth, much like the events of the movie, and is attacked by the Wampa ice creature while investigating the downed Imperial probe droid. Where the story flow diverts from the movie is where Han attempts to search for Luke in the blizzard that follows. Han's Tauntaun dies of the cold before he can find Luke, and when he eventually does find him, Luke imparts his dying words to the smuggler and passes away from exposure and blood loss. Han takes Luke's dying words to mean that he is destined to be a Jedi, and tells Leia that he must go to Dagobah and train with Master Yoda. At this moment, the Empire attacks the Rebel base on Hoth, and the Rebels are forced to escape with Han, Chewie, C-3PO, and Princess Leia escaping on board the Falcon, though because of their malfunctioning hyperdrive, they go to Bespin to get repairs. Han petitions Lando to repair his ship, and Lando agrees, but later is met by Boba Fett sitting in his office, who demands that the Rebels be turned over to him when they arrive, not knowing that they were already there because Han didn't escape into the asteroid belt. Unlike the movies, Boba Fett is led into a trap by Lando, and is knocked unconscious and then frozen into carbonite, which serves now as Lando's new desk. Lando then repairs the Falcon and sends the crew on their way, but before Lando can celebrate, Darth Vader arrives and learns that the Falcon has already left. Enraged by missing his prey once again, Vader orders the bombardment of Cloud City, killing everyone who lives there. Meanwhile, the Falcon makes its way to Dagobah where they meet Master Yoda, though Han is surprised to learn that he is not the one who will be trained as a Jedi, but Leia instead. It is at this point that Yoda reveals that Luke was Leia's brother and that Vader is their father. Leia commits to train to be a Jedi, while Han and Chewie leave to settle their debt with Jabba the Hutt. Many months pass by and things proceed like they were. Han collects the money to pay off Jabba, Leia continues to train to be a Jedi, and Darth Vader continues to hunt for Luke, not knowing that he's already died. Han and Chewie, as well as 3PO and R2, eventually make their way to Tatooine to pay off their debt. But before they can even make it to Jabba's palace, they are ambushed by bounty hunters and the Falcon is stolen. Han and Chewie are taken to Jabba's and are thrown in the Rancor pit, while C-3PO is taken by Jabba to be a translator, and R2 as a surfer droid. In the Rancor pit, which now has 2 Nexu instead of a baby Rancor, Han and Chewie fight for their survival, but are rescued by R2-D2 when he releases the Nexu on the unsuspecting Jabba's court. In the confusion, Han, Chewie, and R2 manage to escape on board a small freighter outside of Jabba's palace, but are forced to leave C-3PO behind or be recaptured themselves. Soon after this, Vader visits Jabba in search of Han, knowing that the other rebels were last seen in his presence. Jabba gives Vader the runaround, but then Vader sees C-3PO and recognizes his own creation. He takes 3PO and leaves the planet, interrogating the droid about the location of Luke and the other rebels. 3PO, to his credit, refuses to talk, but Vader takes the poor droid apart and gets the information anyway, leaving the helpless protocol droid in pieces on his workshop table. While all of this is going on, Leia is finishing her training on Dagobah, and Yoda sends her on her final test to the cave where she will receive her lightsaber crystal. While Leia is in the cave, Vader arrives and confronts Master Yoda, though receives more than he bargains for when Yoda delves deep into Vader's memories and tortures the Sith Lord with visions of his past. While this mental battle is happening, Leia succeeds in finding her lightsaber crystal, and then has a vision of Vader fighting Yoda, so she rushes back to her master, who had just received a fatal blow from the Sith Lord that severed their mental struggle. Leia then fights against Vader with their lightsabers, and Vader makes the offer to Leia to join him and rule the galaxy, to which Leia refuses. Vader then overpowers Leia in the fight, but before he can strike the death blow, Han and Chewie arrive and Han shoots Vader while he is distracted, killing him. With her master dead and the Sith Lord defeated, Leia makes a funeral pyre and leaves Dagobah, rejoining the fight against the Empire as a Jedi Knight. The last iteration of this series is based on The Return of the Jedi, and sees many different changes from this movie as well. In this version, when Leia and the gang are trying to negotiate with Jabba for the release of Han Solo from Carbonite, C-3PO gets damaged and is unable to translate between a disguised Leia and Jabba, forcing Leia to abandon her disguise and threaten Jabba with the thermal detonator. This tactic doesn't work out so well, as in the following scuffle, Boba Fett manages to escape with the carbonite-encased Han Solo, but not before Leia gets off a parting shot towards the bounty hunter, which hits the control panel of the carbonite slab holding Han. Leia, Chewie, and Lando escape the palace and reunite with Luke, just as the thermal detonator goes off and kills everyone inside Jabba's palace. The rebels then leave Tatooine to hunt down Boba Fett and retrieve him, so Luke doesn't return to Dagobah, and Yoda dies, sending out a ripple in the Force that is felt by Luke, the Emperor, and Darth Vader. Vader and Luke go to Dagobah to investigate the death of the Jedi Master, and Luke is then captured by Vader and brought before the Emperor, but not before Yoda appears as a Force ghost and tells Luke about Vader being his father, and Leia being his sister. Luke records a message to Leia before he is captured, and sends it with R2-D2. Meanwhile, Leia, Chewie, and Lando stake out a meeting between Boba Fett and Imperial officials to negotiate the sale of Han Solo in Carbonite. The rebels ambush the meeting and kill Fett in the scuffle, retrieving Han's body while returning to the rebel fleet. Han is then thawed out and seems to be fine, but a medic then informs them that due to the control panel being damaged in their earlier confrontation, Han is now permanently blind. The rebels then proceed to plan their attack on the second Death Star like in the movie, but before it can proceed, Leia receives Luke's message from R2, revealing their relationship and parentage to her. Overcome with emotion, Leia takes the captured Slave One and goes after Luke on board the second Death Star. Han then asks Lando to accompany himself and Chewie on board the Falcon to lead the attack in space, since he cannot see to pilot. While the rebel attack on the Death Star commences, Leia lands on the Death Star, but is captured and brought before the Emperor. Since Leia and the other rebel heroes are all on board the Death Star and in space, they don't meet with the Ewoks on the planet's surface, and the rebel ground team fails because the Imperial and rebel troops are both attacked by the territorial Ewoks. On the Death Star, the Emperor orders Darth Vader to kill Leia, which enrages Luke and he leaps into a lightsaber fight with Vader. Leia tries to intervene but is blasted with Force lightning by the Emperor. In space, the Falcon continues to lead the space battle, and Han has to take over the turret as Chewie gets injured in the fight. Since the ground crew failed, the Falcon then proceeds to rush to the surface to take out the shield generator from the air. This mission succeeds, and the rebels commence their attack runs into the unfinished core of the second Death Star. Lando then takes the Falcon back to space and lands on the Death Star, hoping to rescue Luke and Leia. As Luke and Vader continue to fight, Luke reveals that he is Vader's son, and that Leia is his daughter, which causes Vader to doubt his allegiance to the Sith. Luke then strikes his father and cuts off one of his arms, but Vader overpowers him and strikes a blow of his own. Luke then tells Vader he won't fight him anymore, and Vader, overcome with emotion, surrenders to his children, turning from the dark side and returning to the light. The Skywalkers then escape the Death Star aboard the Falcon, though the Emperor escapes in the confusion without injury. The second Death Star then explodes, and the rebels celebrate their victory. It is later revealed that the Emperor escaped and is still in control of the Empire, but a new, white-clad version of Darth Vader emerges, reclaiming the title of Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and vows to help the rebels track down and defeat his former master. So what do you guys think about these stories? I personally like this different take on things as it opens up a whole new avenue of different possibilities that can exist. This is not the first time that we've seen alternate versions of the story, as in the Force Unleashed video games and some of the alternate endings, you see quite different variances in the story from the movies. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these alternate versions of the story, and tell me some of your own favorites, whether they be Star Wars or some other topic altogether. I want to hear from you guys. You want to know more about Star Wars topics just like this one? Be sure to stick around to the end for some secret trivia, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and check out my other videos as well. Be sure to hit me up in the comments too and talk to me because I love talking to you guys. Super special shout out to my Gold Captain level supporter on Patreon, Nick Sutphin, for your continued support. It's super appreciated. Thank you guys so much for your support and for watching. Be sure to talk to me in the comments, and we will see you in the next episode.